How's it going, everyone? I am doing this video just to show how I install seamless rooms of carpet, also known as drop rooms, and to give some, I guess, tips for the DIY guys, because if you are an installer, you know what you're doing. First thing here, measuring the room, seeing, look at that, it's under 12 foot, so that's awesome. That means no seam. Checking our longest area besides the width of the room, so we actually want to go into the closet so we're not making any seams opposed to the wall where I was at. So we're like 13/8 there, so we'll just call it 14 feet, that way we have some extra. One thing you want to do is go around and prep your floor. You don't necessarily need a giant scraper like mine, but I just use it because it's quicker. Knock up any big humps, get it good and flat, good and clean, sweep it up, and then move on to the next step. And I actually have a million little tips I could give that you kind of just get with experience and training. If you watch me sweeping, I'll kind of try to stay going in a straight line, and I'll end up with a little line of dust. That way I don't miss anything because I'm going in a straight line. The line of dust kind of keeps me from re-sweeping nonsensically, if that's a word. And right here you can see I got lucky. Look at that, double nails on this piece of tack strip. Yes, I used the big extra wide super heavy tack strip. That's just what I learned with, so that's what I use. But sometimes I do grab the cheap stuff from Home Depot. Got the floor swept. Here I am laying out my room. For the new guys or DIY or project guys who've never done this, there'll be little arrows on your tack strip, and you want the arrows to face the baseboard. For a transition strip to the doorway, I just use something called a Z-bar. It's literally basically the shape of a Z, but there's one end that's kind of going up. If you imagine a Z and you grab the bottom and the top end and pull away just a little bit, that's kind of what this looks like. And the flatter end, I'm going to set a piece of tack strip on it, nail the tack strip to the floor, and it's going to anchor that Z-bar down. See how the top there is, the top of the Z-bar is kind of angled upwards. That's what you want. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, got to pull that vent out. And then right here, if you look at my little tack strip cutters, because a lot of people are questioning, how far should my tack strip be? That's a good rule of thumb, those little snips. And if you don't have those, which a lot of people don't, you can just say a 1/4 inch or a fingertip. That's like a good guess of how far you should be. The reason for that is you want to be able to tuck the carpet. So if you pull it back even further, you won't have anything to tuck to. It'll just kind of lay there. And every tack strip, if you notice there, it was kind of spinning when it had one nail. Every tack strip should at least have 2 nails, so it's not spinning everywhere. Now, once again, you can see I'm going to show that you can use the back of your little snips there to get a relatively good space between the baseboard and the tack strip. It's a good reference. A friend of mine showed me that one, so I'm giving tips and taking tips, learning, trying to do a little teaching, I guess. So I'm going to let this video play out here and there because I don't want to just keep rambling. This is another little Z-bar tip. Instead of just wasting full bar Z-bar, you can take your partial They got all from the other door. And then another partial, and just kind of wiggle it and make it fit the door. Uh, Same thing, go over top with the strip, lay it down. Here's pad. It's kind of basic. One wall, you're going to get pretty lucky if your wall's straight. Lay out the pad pretty close to the tack strip of the wall. I leave a little bit of gap. You don't need like a 1/4 inch or anything like that. An 1/8 is just perfect. Right here, kind of just stepped off my pad, folding it, getting it off the wall, making it nice and easy. And before I cut anything down, I'd like to double check my pad, make sure nothing's really short. Like right here was short, so boom, just kick it back up. Beautiful, get it all lined up. Right here, I'm trimming it. So that little gap was excessive, but that one right there, that's like perfect right there. I basically ride my blade along the bottom of the tack strip and the floor, and it just makes that perfect little gap there. And just nice and perfect. And then do the same thing all the way around. You're gonna fight through your closet there. Well, I am, because I didn't take the door off. Just being a little bit lazy, I guess. I probably should have took the door off, but I didn't. So yeah, you'll see me fighting through it. Kind of open the door to get a reference of where I should stop my pad. Same thing with carpet. Cut it down pretty close, pull it through, and then the next step is to tape and staple it. I do everything like this at once. Like I'll lay out the pad, trim it, and then tape it and staple it, all one thing at a time. Just how I do it. So, whoa, that was a firework. Peed myself a little bit. Okay, here's another little tip that I thought of for taping your pad. It might not seem like that big of a deal, and it's probably not, but what I do is I center my finger on the center of the tape, and then line that up with the seam of the pad, and then pull it down and hit my center of my tape to the center of the pad. It makes it nice and straight and beautiful. As far as stapling goes, around the perimeter, I only do my staples about 6 to 8 inches apart all the way around the perimeter, and then if you do your seams, you kind of just want to do 1,000,000 all down the seam. That's just how I do my staple seams. Laying out the carpet, I'm pretty much just trying to be careful not to scrape up the walls. You want to go corner to corner, because if your room's 12 by 12 from corner to corner, you're probably going to be like 14 long or something like that. But either way, you just want to be careful and not scrape up people's fresh paint. It's kind of annoying to people. Yeah, but it does happen. It's rough back carpet. So if you're really just struggling to get your carpet where it needs to go, just grab your kicker. This is actually what it's made for. I'm positioning the carpet. I'm not stretching it. I'm not installing it. Nothing. I'm bumping up the carpet where it belongs. Right here, I'm bumping it away from the wall because it was up the wall so much. But I fast forwarded this so fast that you really can't tell, and I hope the rest of the video is not like that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, because that was way too fast. But anyhow, now I'm just cutting down to make the room manageable, workable, so I don't have to re-kick, re-stretch, redo all this. Because if you put your carpet on the tack strips and it's got like that much attached to it, it's just going to lay there and pull off the strip. So all your work is going to be just pointless, basically. So trim it down to where it's manageable and it's not so heavy it's just pulling off the strip every time you stretch it. Okay, here's everybody's confusion or favorite part or whatever. This back wall here by the window and the outlet. For about 3 feet, I'm going to trim, tuck, and rub the carpet down on the pins. Then I'm going to come away and I'm going to pull. And that right hand wall with the outlet but no window, all that side's going to get stretched. Once that's stretched, I can trim and tuck that area in because it's already been stretched. Now, once that area is trimmed and tucked after it's been stretched, I can quarter turn my stretcher to the left and stretch the width of the room, if that makes sense. I hope it does. So right here, I'm getting my first stretch. Right there, bam. Now, that whole area is stretched. I can put that wall in right there that has carpet going up the baseboard. After that, I'll quarter turn my stretcher to the left and I'll stretch the width of the carpet, which is also the width of the room. It's not always that way, but in this situation it is. Trimming it, and now I'm going to tuck it and set it on the pins. That way, when I quarter turn my stretcher to the left and stretch, it doesn't pull the whole room off the wall. From there, I'll go back to where I started and finish my length. And that means my left hand, not the left on the camera, but my left hand of the wall. Basically, finishing the room from where I left off. Going the same direction. I started in the corner and I was working my way left, so I'm going to continue left down the room. Same thing with the width. Here's my quarter turn. I'm going to stretch it. If you'll notice, it's kind of at an angle, probably 15 degree. I'm going to do one stretch here. Then that whole back wall can be trimmed, tucked, and rubbed on the pins. I'll go back and finish like I was saying just a second ago, and I'll come back to this wall and do the same exact thing. I hope that makes sense. So here I am. After my quarter turn, my width wall has been stretched one time. Now I'm trimming, tucking, and putting the carpet on the tack strip. Now my length and my width has had its first 2 stretches. Like I said, I'll go back to where I started and stretch left and finish the room. Go back to my width wall and do the same thing, but on the width wall I'm going to the right, basically pulling the carpet to a corner, if that makes sense. I hope it does. And if you don't have a power stretcher, you can grab a knee kicker from Lowe's, Home Depot, wherever really, and you can do the same stretch patterns as me with the power stretcher with your kicker. Just take your time and you'll be fine. Here we go. Now you'll see the final nice finished Z-barred vacuumed tight room. This is what you want. Looks great. Give it a try.